Over the past several decades, 99.9% of all global disasters have been linked to climate change, with children being the most affected. They are especially vulnerable to heat waves, storms, floods, droughts, and other climate-related events, particularly in developing countries. During the Climate Change Regional Conference in Uganda, Rajib Goso, Global Head of Climate Portfolio and Quality at Save the Children, noted that the finances allocated to countries for climate change actions rarely benefit children directly. Only a very small number of children benefit from these funds.
Children do not directly benefit from these finances on climate actions. There is a very small number of children who benefit. For example, Save the Children, together with other partners, conducted a study of major climate finance funds and found that only 2.4% of those funding arrangements actually addressed the strategic and practical needs of children.
Goso emphasized the need for viable solutions to this issue, particularly through policy reform and other measures.
Through policy prescriptions, which we work with the Conference of Parties or parties to the Convention, the UNFCCC, which is the United Nations Framework Convention on Climate Change, with other stakeholders at both the national, subnational, and local level. And we hope that this workshop will particularly help us to not only accelerate funding opportunities for socially excluded groups like children, women, youth, the elderly, the disabled, etc.
Muira Marama, Senior Child Rights Advocacy and Companies Advisor at Save the Children, highlighted the significant challenge of mobilizing finances to address the growing climate crisis, urged African governments to unite and demand reforms for the global finance system to ensure that the needs of the children exacerbated by the climate crisis are better addressed.
This year particularly is a very key year when it comes to financial reforms, as well as the funding landscape in the world. The world is hosting through the UN systems the Financing for Development Conference in Spain. One of the key things that we are asking for as Save the Children is that governments around the world must be united in the core and demand for reforms of the global financial architecture so that they can be more responsive to the needs that children and their families and communities are facing with regards to the climate crisis.
Marama also states that the donor funding has reduced in some countries. Therefore, there is a need to prioritize public investment in issues related to children, especially the huge impacts of the climate crisis.
Seeing, I think everybody is aware, but worth mentioning, the USAID cuts are strongly impacting, children. We know that even in the countries where we are working, at least 1.8 million children are now likely to be out of school in the various countries, whether it's in Tanzania, whether it's in South Sudan, and other countries. And they're out of school because of these aid cuts that are being experienced. But also the call goes further to ask the governments in these countries that are largely impacted by the USAID cuts to also prioritize public investment in children. So within our own national budgets in Africa and the Global South.
Christine Nandora, Head of Livelihoods and Climate Adaptive Programming at Save the Children Uganda, notes that in Uganda children have got severe impact in terms of climate change, such as hunger, especially in Karamoja region, school dropouts due to floods. Therefore, there is a need for better environment through climate change mitigation and adaptation.
Specifically for children, we've seen their education, almost every part of their lives being affected, be it livelihoods, be it education, be it health. From the different diseases, children are not able to access school. Take an example of Karamoja. The roads get cut off by floods and children are not able to access schools. Then the drought, the persistent drought in Karamoja. Children are not able to access food. And if they are not able to access food, they cannot study on an empty stomach. The malnutrition levels are going up. So I Save the Children, we want to make sure that we create a better environment for children to thrive, so that they are able to access school, they are able to access health services, they are able to grow in an environment that really promotes their well-being and their rights.
Julius Muhomuza, Church of Uganda Family TV, News at 8.